Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sarah Moy, and today's topic is those pesky ants. And I'm not talking about the pesky ants that you see around your sink this time of year. I'm talking about automatic negative thinking patterns. We've been talking a lot about our thinking and how it affects how we feel, the decisions we make, ultimately the lives that we have, and that it can even affect our physical health. Well, what are we going to do about them? I know all this talk about how these things can affect us, and becoming aware of the fact and realizing that we all struggle with them can be kind of discouraging. So I thought that I would talk a little bit about some things that we can do to help us replace those thoughts with more positive thoughts or healthier thoughts that can affect us in a healthy way. Because once we start to identify them and become aware of them, even though that's good, the hard part is applying a new thought. One way I like to think about it is that our thought patterns have muscles on them. So the longer we've been thinking a thought, the stronger that muscle will be. So we might think about what we're going to do is we're going to go to a gym, to a spiritual, mental, and emotional gym. And when we recognize our automatic negative thinking patterns, we can come up with a response and talk back to that thought. We can come up with a healthier, more rational and reasonable thought to replace the negative thought. And then we can practice that over and over again. One of the things that I do with my clients is I give them a packet. It's called Ant Therapy. And one of them that I use is by a man named Daniel G. Amen. And he is a doctor, a psychologist, and works with this type of thing often. So if you want to Google him and some of his articles, he has some really good articles and therapies to help people with this type of thing. But what I do is that I ask my clients to read the packet and to start to think about what they're thinking about. And when they recognize some of those patterns that they're thinking, that they automatically respond with on a regular basis. And if we aren't aware of the thoughts that we're thinking, we will be on autopilot with our thoughts. So we have to start thinking about what we're thinking about. And then we will notice the patterns. And I suggest to get a note card. Like I said with my clients, I suggest that they read the packet and then identify 3 automatic negative thinking patterns that are probably the most persistent with them, and then come up with 3 replacement thoughts. And then to carry that note card around with them all the time and just start practicing applying the new thought. Another thing that I think would be helpful is to do some mindfulness therapy or some mindfulness training. There are all kinds of ways to do that. There are so many free apps even. You can always purchase more stuff, but I've used the free stuff. There's so much material that's free that you don't really need to purchase anything if you don't want to. There's the Calm app and there's Headspace, and they'll explain what mindfulness is in a very simple way. And I think Headspace talks about how we can think about our thoughts like clouds that are floating along in the sky, and that we can simply observe them instead of reacting to each one of them. And that we don't want to be critical with ourselves when we notice that we do start obsessing on a thought or have a harder time, or when we start recognizing that we are focusing on a particular thought. But then we just recognize it and then go back to our focal point. And I probably need to backtrack a little bit. That's why breathing is such a good thing. So if we can start to focus on just taking deep breaths, inhaling and exhaling, and focus on that breath. And then when we notice that our thoughts have gone astray, then we can focus back on our breath. And so obviously, we'll have to start out slow, 1 minute, 2 or 3 minutes, 5 minutes. And what that does is it strengthens our ability to choose the thought that we're thinking. Like I said, these are like muscles. And our thought patterns are like muscles. So those are a couple of things that you can do. And this takes time, it takes practice, but it's exciting because research has so many new ways to see the progress that can be made and how effective some of these treatments are. And it is exciting to me to hear that research says that older people, the older we get, that we still have the ability to generate new thoughts and to change those thought patterns. And that is exciting because in the past, they didn't really know that. And but people are living longer these days. And so we need to think about some things that we can do to live a better quality of life. And I'm all about that because I'm 56 and I want to live well till the day I die. And I'm going to do what I can to nurture that. So I believe that practicing some ant therapy can help. And I also wanted to say about the ant therapy that there's a list of distorted thinking patterns that are rather common to all people. And I won't list them all, but a couple of them would be mind reading. That would be me thinking that I know what someone else is thinking. Have you ever walked down a hall and seen a look on somebody's face and thought, I know they don't like me? Or whatever it is. You get what I'm saying. We don't really know that. Another one would be catastrophizing or all or nothing thinking. And what we want to do is we want to examine those thoughts. And with the all or nothing thinking, just think about that. There is very rarely, I don't know if there's anything that we can truly say always happens. And very rarely is there something that never happens. But if we are subconsciously talking to ourselves that way, then it can bring a lot of disappointment and discouragement. Say, I don't know, let's say if somebody's picking teams for softball and you get picked last. You can tell yourself, nobody ever wants me on their team. Well, that's probably not the truth. That might hurt in the moment, but it doesn't mean that that always happens or nobody likes me. Well, that's probably not the truth either. So we can start talking back to ourselves that way. And then we will start benefiting from that because our subconscious won't be lying to us. And we can kind of take control and feel empowered and feel better, make better decisions, and have a better life. So I think we all need to realize that we've got some ants, pesky ants, in our minds. And I think we also need to know that there's something that we can do about them and start making progress so that we can enjoy our lives better and make better decisions, have healthier emotions, and have better relationships, and just enjoy the journey more. So, I hope that this video has helped you with your ants, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.